Welcome back, video creeps. So I just got through watching the movie Promising Young Woman. And boy, we're gonna talk about it. I don't even have an intro, like anything that I could say to lead us into talking about this is puny and small and kind of dumb. So I don't even want to get into any of that. Like, I just want to get right into talking about this movie. So let's intro, let's go, and then let's just do this. Let's go. So Promising Young Woman is the story of Cassie, who is looking for vindication for her friend Nina, who is, the byproduct of a sexual assault, going to great lengths to shed light on the awful truth of what has happened to her best friend. And we start to track down everybody who played a hand in what happened to Nina. And dude, the way that they go about it in this movie is just excellent. This isn't like I spit on your grave or anything like that. This is like a very forceful look at an ugly reality. It really takes a look at how we treat rape culture in our society. And it really goes through every layer of it in this really cool and intelligent way. And that starts off right away, even if you look at the casting of some of the guys in this that are kind of, irrefutably shitty. The casting didn't go to these guys who we already knew were kind of shitty people, which is what we tend to do in society. We do look at really shitty guys and assume that they do shitty things. But the truth is, every ex-boyfriend of every female friend that you have probably dated a good-looking dude who, while they were dating, they were charming and cool and someone that you wanted to be around. That's what they did with the casting in this movie as far as these guys go. We got fucking Seth Cohen from the OC. I love that dude. McLovin from Superbad is one of the guys. We even have Bo Burnham, who is on top of the world now, of course. We love him. But I think that was a fucking really smart thing to do. When you think about these guys, you don't see them as shitty, horrible people who are going around devaluing women. You think about how funny they are and how charming they are and how hey, that could be my friend. And more often than not, that's exactly what happens in these situations. It is the guy that you thought was supposed to be really cool. And the fact that this movie was able to cast with that in mind was really smart. I really appreciated that. But it's not as if they're only going after men the whole time in this movie. They really do take a look at how women can be complicit as well. Case in point, the character of Madison, who's supposed to be an old friend, but really comes across as more of a rape apologist. And you start to see this dialogue that's being formed around Cassie as she sees something that no one else does. And though we hear these things, you really pay attention when they're being said to her. From Madison, a fellow woman, someone who you would think would be an ally and understand this situation completely. She's hearing things from her well, maybe if you didn't sleep with so many people and you weren't drunk all the time, maybe somebody would fucking believe you. Rough, but super honest. That is the kind of thing that's said to somebody when something goes down and maybe they had a couple drinks in a party. And instead of going down the road of understanding why this could have happened and prosecuting the proper people that should be held accountable, she's met with this idea that maybe if you're a woman, you shouldn't drink too much. That's dark and that's fucked up and that's real. It's the same thing with this narrative that's built around these guys in the movie, where this awful thing has happened to Nina, but we were kids. It was fucking, come on, you're really gonna hold me accountable for something I did when I was a youth? It's reminiscent of all of these different cases that you hear from universities. I'm in California, I'm very close to Berkeley, and you see these guys get off without much reparations towards the women that they've hurt. And why are they allowed that? Well, because they're promising young men, which is another layer to how even smart this movie's title is. I really dig the choices that this film decided to make, especially with Cassie. I think my horror heart going into this film, I was expecting something like American Mary, where we were gonna see this young woman go after these guys and start gutting them and left and right and it's all fucked up. I don't think you see a drop of blood in this entire film. And the truth is, what is that desire in me anyway to see her take out these guys in bloodshed? That's not realistic. This isn't Kill Bill where someone with a big machete is gonna come out of nowhere and slice you down the sides. That's just not the way that it's gonna go down. Cassie uses her brain throughout the film in order to show these people exactly how fucked up they really are, and the damage that they're doing by forgiving these actions and brushing it underneath the rug. It's not okay. And in a big way, I think that's more powerful than anything. When tackling something like this, I do want an air of reality. That's where the real horror comes from. We don't need a ton of bloodshed. We don't need to see these guys getting decapitated. The idea that people are getting away with this kind of thing is horror enough. And that's also where I really have to commend the ending of this movie. We see Cassie ultimately meet up with the last guy on her list. And unfortunately, we do see the death of Cassie, which makes more sense than the idea of her being able to kill an entire house full of guys. We see her get overpowered and we see her get suffocated to death for like a while. Like it's very real seeing this character go down, and it should be. But the death of Cassie is not the end of this situation being rectified. And at the end of the movie, when we see this big day of reckoning, it's fucking great. I really enjoyed this movie, and I loved the acting in this film. It really is an emotional roller coaster. At times, I felt so tense. And I think it's the perfect look into the mania of what it is to be a woman dealing with this kind of situation. I identify as a man, so I can never truly know what it must feel like to watch this movie and go through some of the things that this woman is going through. But as a man, I could say like, dude, fucking, I can be better. I'm not as bad as these guys, but I know that I'm not the best. And I really do think that it starts with watching films like this and starting to understand the other side of that perspective. And for that, I'm extremely grateful to A Promising Young Woman for giving me that sight. I highly recommend watching this film, and I really enjoyed it. I'm super interested to hear all of your thoughts down in the comments below. If you haven't already, like the video and hit subscribe so that way you and I can hang out again. A good way to make sure that that happens is if you hit the notification bell. And also, like, be nice to me. I don't know why you guys didn't watch my last video, but like, I'm upset about it. So go watch that one too. I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace, video creeps.
7 days a week I get to have your name on my tongue. 7 days a week I get to think of you and feel young. Cause you're on my Patreon, so now I get to sing a song for all of you. Let me list you off one by one. Rebecca Reviews and Kyoko, Larry Sherman and Corey Stewart, Carwoman and Spooky Butchers, Grindhouse, Lord X-Core, runs with Punks and Michael Andrews, Grimnir and Survivors Guild, Flag Voorhees and Wigwolf, Yo Adrian, Leilani, Little Lady Horror, Jessica Rabbit. Oh, can I honor you all with a little bit of song from my heart? I love that you're my Patreon, and I don't know how I would go on if I didn't have your love and support. Then I think that I'd cry and cry and cry and cry, cause I'm a little bitch inside. Oh,